Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I wanted to bring something to everyone's attention that I talk about this every once in a while, but I want you to think about the pattern. So we've had the pullback. I think Bitcoin dipped into the 79,000-ish down that way. The market's pulled back. And I want you to ask yourself a question. Is this all a coincidence that all of a sudden, it's almost like Wall Street, it's almost like Wall Street engineers these pullbacks, and then they trot out all of the talking heads that are the Bitcoin talking heads. And have you ever noticed that every time we have a pullback and then they start trotting out all the Bitcoin maxis and all they talk about is Bitcoin? Have you ever wondered, why do you never, you'd think you would see spokespeople for, pundits that want to talk about Cardano and what they think the Cardano price is going to go to. Do you think it's a coincidence that you never ever on any of the main crypto or mainstream media, you never ever see anybody come out and start talking about their Cardano price predictions or their XRP price predictions? That's because this is all an operation. It is a government operation. I don't know how, and you don't have to take my word for it. Just look. So this is the first one. The Bitwise CEO is the first one to be trot out.
Bitwise CEO Hunter.
No, think about it for a minute. Bitwise has all sorts of ETFs. Why do you never ever see the Bitwise unless they're specifically asked? They never come on. The titles are always Bitcoin. Why do you never see a Bitwise guy come out with the title ADA ETF that they've just filed? And they talk about what they predict ADA will go to, Cardano. You don't ever see any of that. There's a reason. It's because this is all an op.
Horsley joins us on set for more on what's going on in this market. Hunter, good to see you.
They've even got the CNBC people wearing orange ties now.
On one level, I guess you could draw a picture of the ultimate sell the news, because Bitcoin fans have gotten every single thing they could have wanted and said was part of the bull case 4 or 5 months ago, and now it's like, what's next to look forward to?
I think Bitcoin is famous for volatility, and yet when it experiences volatility, people are surprised.
Yeah.
Q1 has been the best moment for investors to put money into Bitcoin, and we've seen that with our client base. I think we've seen more traditional investors, wealth managers, asset managers, banks engaging with Bitwise, the Bitwise Bitcoin ETF, and the asset class in the first quarter of this year amidst the price action. So I think price is always a story in this space. If you remember back to when...
All right, so there's the Bitwise CEO. Then they have Anthony Pompliano on to do the same thing.
The other big sea changes just happened in January, the inauguration of the Trump administration. We've seen the SEC drop charges or investigations that people thought was specious at best. There was more news today. Eleanor Trent broke some news on the SEC having a conference real soon. And so how important is it that you have an administration that's not only not demonizing this, but encouraging it?
We need people to believe that they can build things in order for them to go try to build them. We need people to think that if you innovate, you're not going to go to jail. We need people to believe that the government is cheering for their success, right, not trying to attack it. And so the first thing is you just need to change the mindset. And I think that's already happening.
So this is Bitcoin Investor Week. Then you got this. Here's Cynthia Loomis. I said, we need a pro-crypto senator, not a Bitcoin ideologue.
Level, I could say I already have that. I use my credit card. I use, PayPal or Apple Pay. So walk us through the reasons that someone would want to use crypto in that regard, given the other options out there.
Well, Bitcoin has a couple of qualities that you can't get from either fiat currency, meaning US dollars, or government issued.
See, it's more Bitcoin. Then you had this ex-JP Morgan Tom Lee
So the investors view this as a crisis when it's really a growth scare. So to me, I think there's a good chance we're making our lows for the first half, like this week. And
like down 5-6%, you mean?
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing is I'm not that optimistic about the job picture for the near term. So maybe that's one last leg. But the reality is that a lot of bad news has gotten priced in.
All this guy will ever talk about is Bitcoin. Now, let me tell you what's really going on. And I put here, and then this is Altcoin Daily, Bitcoin price predictions. You never see any of these big platforms. Our XRP price predictions. You never see CNBC, our XRP, our Cardano, our Hedera hash graph. Those are the ones they ought to be talking about predictions on, not Bitcoin. Everybody knows Bitcoin is not what's going to change the financial system in terms of payments and smart contract platforms and all the things, tokenized real world. Everybody knows Bitcoin's not going to have anything to do with that, but they don't even talk about it. Why do they not even talk about it? I promise you, before this show that you're watching is over, not this show, but this Bitcoin staged show that you're watching, before this is all over, you're going to see all these people when it's time, and they're going to be giving XRP price predictions, Cardano price predictions, Hedera hash graph. It's going to be all the others, the ones that they don't want to talk about right now, because those are the ones that really matter. It's not Bitcoin. Now, you want to see what it's all about, really? This is Catherine Austin Fitz, and she says she's got the gist of it right here.
You can really break cryptocurrencies up into a couple of baskets. One basket, of course, is Bitcoin, which is totally a Ponzi scheme. And we have a wealth of information if you want to know more about that. And when I say it's a Ponzi scheme, it's a politically driven speculation.
Yes, and when she says politically, think all of these top Bitcoin influencers, the Michael Saylors, think about all those guys. And then you got the Wall Street media machine, you've got the politics, you got Senator Loomis. All of this is an operation, folks. Trust me on that. I've been in this for a long time. When I first got in this, I was the same as all the Bitcoiners. I was, this Bitcoin thing, that's a libertarian movement. I was investing in gold, but now I've got this Bitcoin option. This is for a reason. It is a government reason that it's being pushed like this. Write it down. History books will prove us right on this. No question about it.
Its value is totally based on whatever political money they can get. So they need essentially to mandate government purchases. And if they
mandate government purchases, think about what you've had in this industry for all this time. That's why I keep saying the entire crypto market is a lie right now. You're not seeing where the real value is because the politics of it have been pushing Bitcoin, 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 and they've been pushing it on and on and on and on. And that has been intentional. It was intentional that Bitcoin's a commodity. They just said that out of the gate. Chris Giancarlo did the Bitcoin futures. I asked Chris Giancarlo to his face if he had ever seen the for Satoshi's video where Homeland Security. You think these people don't know that Homeland Security met with? Come on. There's a reason none of them will talk about it. There's a reason they won't talk about it. It's obvious what's going on here. This is phase one of what crypto is really going to be. And I have a hunch that it's an operation to convince a lot of the bad guy countries of the world that we've been suckered into the Bitcoin thing when the real stuff is coming.
Mandated government purchases, they can send the price to.
Why do you think sailors running around the country trying to talk states and the federal government into having a Bitcoin only reserve? If it's not government mandated, they know that Bitcoin will not stay in the lead. I don't think it'll stay in the lead even if they do have the government mandate.
$1 million.
Well, they haven't done that yet.
No, they haven't done that yet. But if they get that done, now they're going to bankrupt all the governments when it's done. This is how they strip out. This is the last phase of the financial coup. This is how they strip out the land and everything else. So now they're also using it to keep the states away from gold and silver. If they can get them into Bitcoin instead of gold, then the central bankers get to keep all the gold.
It keeps people
Exactly.
out of the stock market, too.
It keeps people out of the stock market. It keeps them out of starting legitimate enterprises. So all the economic power is over here. If you can get them in the shiny toys over here, you keep them out of the power line. It's back to the power line.
But Catherine,
You keep them out of XRP.
originally, when cryptocurrency was first, thought of, it was a currency system that made it possible to trade, to buy things,
Right?
Orders, and
So there's a
Yeah, you know, the Bitcoin white paper that failed in what it said they wanted to do.
there's Bitcoin, which is a political scheme. It's a Ponzi scheme, and it's a Ponzi scheme that could go very high in price. Ultimately, it could easily go to zero, and I think will. But
Now, this is where it gets interesting because she divides crypto up. And she knows Bitcoin's a Ponzi scheme and it's a political thing with a purpose. And then she goes to the things that are legit. Now, she names Monero, but that's just because she's a major libertarian and she sees that as a privacy coin. But the thing to get out of this is she knows that the real things that are going to change the financial industry forever are the digital assets with utility.
you have another basket of cryptos, which are legitimate efforts at payment systems.
Who led that? Who's been leading that one? Ripple, XRP.
So Monero is a legitimate effort at a payment system and private money. And I think I don't think that's a scheme. I don't think that's a pump and dump. But and somebody said for sure it's not a pump and dump because look how many places have tried to outlaw it. It must be good. And then there's stablecoin. So stablecoin is a coin that's basically being used to promote and push the dollar globally through the mobile payment system. So if I want to get everybody in a country on the currency, I no longer ship over pallets of cash. What I do is I just come in through their mobile phone using stablecoin. And they put money in the stablecoin, and then we go buy treasury bills, and it's basically pushing out more and more dollars.
Who's building stablecoins on the XRP ledger?
And in theory, if a country can't stop people from using stablecoin through their mobile phones or their computers, you can convert an entire country around the back of the government and the central bank.
So anyway, the point I wanted to make, this is all a coordinated political effort. There's a reason that people in that XRP influencers don't get invited. Every time you see a major conference like Consensus, they put the same influencers up there, even though and the smaller ones that they include, that many of them are smaller than I am. Guys like me don't get invited to the even if it's not a Bitcoin conference like Consensus. Guys like me don't get invited to be on stage at those. There's a reason for that. They want all attention on Bitcoin, and it is a political effort. It is a media effort. It's all facets, and it's obvious, folks. It's obvious. They don't want the real stuff being said. Oh, now that you've heard all the Bitcoin whatever, now let's talk about what the adults talk about.
The payment systems that
these are the ones where they're not talking about. They're not focusing on what's going to really change the financial system.
supposedly are allowing a lot of recipients to get improper payments.
With the Treasury Department, why not have a system in place where you can actually see where the money actually goes?
I'm totally
You
confused
can't create that on Bitcoin.
because it sounds like it's an antiquated system. There's all these different payment systems.
Yeah.
None of them work together.
It is an old
Can't do that on Bitcoin.
system.
Overwhelming fraud within the payment system that we see from so many of these government programs.
The payment systems of USAID and state are complicated and require various steps before
Who's been working on payment systems for all this time?
payments are authorized.
Payment system remains frozen by the department. And so money can't flow to provide the services and needs that our employees overseas require.
We need to have updated systems. I would love if the greatest tech giants in this country would take their tech expertise and say, we're here. We want to give back to the country that made us billionaires, and we're going to work with you to teach you to build these systems.
Who could do that?
so you're not paying it out to other organizations because our systems are antiquated.
Well, with the systems, I mean, I thought the systems were outdated and antiquated, but he's finding systems that aren't even computerized. We're dealing with systems here that aren't even in the computer era. We still have to digitize.
Almost like we've been watching a government operation, a crypto government operation.
Them to get some of the data. That's how backwards it is. So what we're seeing is just that these government systems are beyond antiquated, and I think what Doge is doing is bringing some modern IT to the government.
Wonder what those modern things could be. Look, President Trump's going to host the first White House Crypto Summit on Friday, March 7th. Attendees will include prominent founders, CEOs, and investors from the crypto industry. Looking forward to seeing everyone. RLUSD Reserve Attestation Report for January 2025 is out. RLUSD remains over-collateralized. Good market cap growth since its launch. Currently, 130 million market cap. No large RLUSD burning. Regulated entities are on-ramping and don't off-ramp. Here's Jack McDonald, who runs RLUSD. Like clockwork, January independent attestation is live. Hit 7.35 billion in trading volume in XRPL and ETH in the first 60 days of being live. RLUSD remains over reserved. We hold 7 million more in reserves than total RLUSD supply. We're seeing increased inbound interest of using RLUSD for on-chain collateralization for tokenized assets. Lots of possibilities here. This one made me laugh yesterday evening. This guy, this Hex founder, who, I mean, I can remember, and I don't know all the ins and outs of this guy's case, but I can remember watching this guy, just watching his behavior. And once again, this guy was there from the early days around the Bitcoin crowd. And let me tell you what, this guy was doing things that were so in your face, like showing his wealth and all this that he had gained from all this stuff. I used to watch it and I was like, there's no way that guy's not working for the government. I mean, so that's what I always thought about him, because nobody would do the things he's doing and be that in your face about it. This is him walking out of a fancy department store trying to show everybody how many toys he can buy from all his wealth. He even bought some like huge diamond and bragged about it and all. He got his case dismissed, his SEC case dismissed yesterday before the Ripple case. Now, folks, this might sound like something that makes you mad. It actually excites me. You know why? Because there's no way on this planet Earth that the Ripple case would be the last to settle unless it was the most important. Unless XRP and Ripple were for a very large purpose. That's the way I'm thinking. Okay, in DAIXRP.com, you can go join it, DAIXRP.com for if you want to join it through Patreon. If you want to join it through YouTube, it's the same group. I do extended videos with no advertising on them. You can join through YouTube if you go below this video and click the join button. In there today, we're going to talk about what are these market guys saying is coming. We're going to talk about that. And I'm also going to show you a very smart guy that's telling you what historically about all these pullbacks, how this has happened before, and why everybody needs to understand the moment. Okay, I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Here we go.